Every second you sit still, a silent thief is reaching into your pocket and stealing a piece of your life. It doesn't matter if you're sleeping, working, or spending time with your family. The theft is constant, invisible, and perfectly legal. We have been conditioned since birth to believe a comforting lie, a bedtime story for the financially illiterate. Save for a rainy day. It sounds prudent. It sounds like the responsible thing to do. It's the advice whispered by grandparents who survived the Great Depression and echoed by traditional bankers who profit directly from your passivity. But the world has fundamentally shifted. We are no longer living in an era of gold-backed stability or predictable growth. We are living in a digital, high-velocity economic theater where traditional saving isn't a safety net. It is a trap. Imagine you are standing in a vast, open field. You see dark clouds gathering on the horizon. To prepare, you begin digging a hole, burying your most valuable resources deep in the dirt to keep them safe from the wind and rain. You feel secure, you feel prepared. But while your eyes are fixed on the horizon, the ground beneath your feet is shifting. The very soil is eroding. By the time the first drop of rain hits your forehead, the resources you buried haven't just stayed the same, they've rotted. This is the brutal reality of the modern savings account. It is a hole in the ground that offers the illusion of security while silently cannibalizing your future. To understand why saving for a rainy day is a mathematically flawed strategy, we have to strip away the emotion and look at the cold, hard data of purchasing power. Since the early 1970s, specifically 1971, when the last vestige of the gold standard was severed, money transformed from a store of value into a melting ice cube. If you take $10,000 and place it in a standard savings account today, you aren't preserving wealth. You are holding a decaying asset. With inflation acting as an invisible, non-consensual tax, the actual volume of goods and services that money can command is shrinking by the hour. Look at the M2 money supply, the total amount of currency circulating in the economy. Over the last few decades, and especially in the last 5 years, this supply has expanded at a rate that defies historical precedent. When the supply of currency expands and the supply of goods remains relatively stagnant, the value of each individual unit must drop. It is basic economic physics. If you are saving in a currency that is being aggressively debased, you are essentially trying to fill a bucket that has no bottom. The psychological pull of the rainy day fund is rooted in our primal fear of the unknown. We want a cushion. We want to know that if the car breaks down or the roof leaks, we have the liquid cash to fix it. But there is a massive structural difference between liquidity and stagnancy. When you hoard cash in an environment where the money supply is constantly expanding, you are betting against the progress of the entire global economy. You are opting out of growth in exchange for a feeling of safety that is, quite literally, costing you your freedom. Think about the opportunity cost, the silent killer of middle-class wealth. Every dollar sitting idle in a 0.01% interest account is a soldier you've taken off the battlefield. While you are waiting for a storm that may or may not come, those dollars could be working in the gears of industry, compounding in the vast machinery of the markets, or acquiring hard assets that breathe and grow with the passage of time. The wealthy don't save for rainy days. They strategically deploy capital so that when the storm arrives, they don't just have an umbrella, they own the company that manufactures them. There is a specific, systemic reason why the savings narrative is pushed so heavily on the working class, while ultra-high net worth individuals operate on a completely different set of physics. It is the Cantillon effect in action, the phenomenon where those closest to the source of money creation benefit, while those at the end of the chain, the savers, see their purchasing power destroyed. By the time the newly printed money reaches your savings account, its value has already been absorbed by the assets the wealthy bought months or years ago. You are being taught to play a game where the goal is not to lose, while the people on the other side of the glass are playing to win. The math is brutal and unapologetic. If the cost of living rises by 6% and your safe savings account yields 1%, you are losing 5% of your life's work every single year. You are paying for the privilege of letting the bank use your money to make their own fortunes. Through fractional reserve banking, the bank takes your rainy day deposit and lends it out 10 times over, charging interest and generating massive returns for themselves. You are subsidizing your own obsolescence, and yet, most people can't let go. They are terrified of the volatility of the markets, terrified of the red and green flickering on the screens. They retreat back to the perceived warmth of their bank balance, unaware that the safe path is actually the riskiest move of all. In a world of rapid debasement, the only thing more dangerous than taking a calculated risk is taking no risk at all. But what if the very rainy day you are preparing for is being caused by the way you handle your money? What if your attempt to find safety is the exact thing making you vulnerable? We are approaching a threshold where the traditional rules of personal finance don't just fail, they invert. Pragmatism demands a shift in perspective. Logic dictates that if the value of the unit is decreasing, the only way to survive is to own the machinery that creates value. Consider the hurdle rate, the minimum return you need just to stay in the same place. If you aren't clearing that hurdle, you are moving backward, no matter how much you save. The psychological comfort of a large cash balance is perhaps the most expensive luxury on earth. It provides a false sense of security that prevents you from taking the calculated risks necessary for true resilience. In the cold light of data, we see that the wealthiest individuals don't have rainy day funds in the way you think. They have access to credit lines, liquid assets, and diversified cash flow streams. They don't hoard the currency, they move it. They understand that money is like blood. If it stops circulating, the body dies. To break free from this cycle, you must stop being a saver and start being an allocator. Every dollar must have a mission. If a dollar is sitting still, it is failing its objective. Instead of a stagnant pool of cash, you must build a fortress of productive assets. This means shifting your focus from defensive survival to offensive strategy. Real security doesn't come from the amount of paper you have in a digital ledger. It comes from your ability to command resources in a shifting landscape. This involves understanding the difference between dead capital and productive capital. Dead capital is the cash under your mattress or in a low-interest account. Productive capital is equity in businesses, real estate, or high-growth assets that adjust their value in real time to match the rate of inflation. The traditional advice to save for a rainy day was designed for a world of gold standards and predictable 2% growth. We now live in an era of unprecedented debt and fiscal volatility. In this environment, your greatest risk isn't a temporary loss of income. It's the permanent, structural loss of your purchasing power. The storm is already here. It doesn't look like a thundercloud. It looks like a grocery bill that doubles in 5 years while your savings remain static. It looks like a housing market that moves out of reach while you responsibly set aside a portion of your paycheck. The logic is inescapable. You cannot save your way to freedom when the very unit of your savings is designed to melt. Stop hoarding the ice. Start building the engine. Because when the floods finally rise, those who clutched their cash will sink under the weight of their own security, while those who invested in the vessel will be the ones who navigate the new horizon. The era of the saver is over. The era of the strategist has begun. If you want to survive the coming decade, you must stop looking for a shelter and start building the fortress. The rainy day isn't coming. It's been here for years, and it's washing away everyone who refused to evolve.